Do you think you know the people around you? You can spot a toxic person from a mile away, right? Someone with bad vibes, that negative energy, and you steer clear of them. But what if the real danger isn't obvious? Sometimes the most destructive people are the ones who seem charming, kind, or even surprise family members. You're out there trying to protect yourself from the obvious villains, while the real threat is quietly invading your life, the unconscious mind of others. Carl Jung spent his life studying this. He called it the unconscious, and he said most of what controls us isn't in our conscious control. It's deeper, and that's what makes it dangerous. When someone's blind to their own darkness, they'll project it onto you. It's like living in a movie where you don't know you're the villain until the credits roll. Have you ever felt emotionally drained after talking to someone? Like, you didn't do anything wrong, but somehow you end up feeling like the bad guy? That's projection. Jung talked about it. It's when someone projects their own unresolved issues onto you. Instead of dealing with their own darkness, they blame you for it. They'll turn you into a symbol of what they refuse to face in themselves. Suddenly, you're no longer a person. You're a mirror. You become the villain or the hero, depending on how they see themselves. And here's the kicker. You might not even realize it's happening. You think you're helping. You think you're being empathetic. But you're really just being dragged into someone else's unresolved emotional mess. Ever meet someone who seems fragile, sensitive, and deep at first, but slowly starts to make you feel responsible for their emotional roller coaster? They're not just emotionally messy. They're manipulating you. Jung called this the unconscious manipulator. These are the people who don't understand their own emotional wounds, so they project them onto others to survive. They don't see you. They see a mirror of their own trauma. It's sneaky. They make you feel like you're the one causing the emotional chaos when, in reality, they're using you as a psychological punching bag. And the worst part? They often have charisma, which makes you want to help them even more, sinking deeper into their emotional swamp. You ever meet someone who seems perfect on the outside? Always polished, always saying the right things, always behaving just right? They have a persona, a social mask they wear to fit in. Jung said, the persona is not who we are. It's who we pretend to be to meet societal expectations. On the surface, it's fine. We all need it to function in society. But the problem is when someone starts to believe that persona is all they are. When the mask sticks too hard, it suffocates the real person. And the scariest part, when that mask gets projected onto others. People start acting like you are who they think you should be, not who you actually are. Ever notice how some people are just always so perfect? So balanced, so composed. But underneath that polished exterior, there's a lot of darkness they've shoved down deep. Jung talked about the shadow, those parts of ourselves that we repress because they don't fit our ideal self-image. But when we repress them, they don't disappear. They build up and eventually explode in unpredictable ways. The problem is when someone only shows the good side and represses everything else, they end up living in constant emotional tension. And they project that tension onto others, making everyone around them feel like they're walking on eggshells. The shadow is dangerous because it sneaks in unnoticed, but it always demands to be seen. Here's a fun one. The moral controller. They act like they've got it all together, and they think their version of morality is the only way to live. They use their virtue to control the people around them, making you feel guilty for not living up to their standards. Jung said that the moral controller is often unaware of their own shadow, so they project it onto others by condemning what they refuse to face in themselves. They often think they're doing good, correcting others, teaching them the right way. But deep down, their moral superiority is just a way to control. They're not focused on truth. They're focused on being seen as the good one, at any cost. Have you ever been around someone who seems wonderful 1 minute and then suddenly blows up over something small? You try to talk, but they explode in anger or shut down without warning. Jung described these people as complex individuals. They're controlled by their unresolved emotional issues, like traumas or past wounds. They're not reacting to the present moment. They're reacting to something from their past that hasn't been processed. It's exhausting. 1 minute, they're warm and loving. The next, they're angry and cold. And no matter how much you try to help, you just end up caught in the emotional crossfire. Finally, let's talk about the psychic vampire. They don't need your blood. They need your time, your attention, and your energy. These are the people who drain you emotionally, making you feel exhausted, depleted, and used. But unlike the obvious abusers, the psychic vampire operates in the background, never shouting, never demanding. Instead, they use subtle tactics: chronic victimhood, guilt-tripping, emotional dependency masked as affection. Jung warned us about people like this. They don't want your presence. They want your energy. And they'll do everything they can to drain it. The worst part? You often don't even realize they're doing it until you're left with nothing but emotional exhaustion. The way to stop them? Set clear boundaries, protect your energy, and realize that their emotional needs are not your responsibility.